South Luangwa, the arena of Africa's deadliest predators. As water dries up, the lion's hunts become survival struggles. Today, Luangwa will be revealed. During the harshest period of the African dry season. A moonless night in South Luangwa. This is the Inu pride, Africa's apex predator. And they fail 7 times out of every 10 chases. The crocodile yields because what Hippo carries in its flesh is something crocodile has never been able to defeat. Her left leg is stiff. Her speed is now far less than a lion in its prime. She will eat today. In an ecosystem pressed to its limits, survival does not belong to the strongest or the fastest. South Luangwa National Park covers 9,000 square kilometers, roughly the size of Switzerland. But with no fences dividing habitat, no commercial roads cutting through breeding grounds, no urban expansion pressing in. This ecosystem formed 13 million years ago when the East African Rift Valley began fracturing along a north-south axis. The Luangwa River has followed that fracture. Through every climatic upheaval, the African continent has endured. More than 60 large mammal species, 400 bird species. Not one exists in complete isolation. Predators create selective pressure on prey. Prey generate evasion strategies for predators. Scavengers connect the food chain after every kill. When the 2023 El Niño stripped Zambia of its rainfall, competitive pressure increased week by week. And the secrets held within each species began to surface with startling clarity. The mamba travels at speeds of 12 to 20 kilometers per hour, the fastest of all African snakes. When it wants to escape, nothing can catch up. When it chooses not to escape, there is no chance to defend for its opponent. Black mamba venom is a 2-tier system. The mamba strikes directly, with its back against the wall. And once it decides to strike, nothing on the Kenyan savannah is swift enough to evade that first bite, even the king of the savannah. That afternoon, the black mamba was returning to its den after a hunt. The den nestled beneath the roots of an old acacia tree, about 40 meters from the pride's main watering hole. Away from where an elderly male lion was resting in the midday sun, 40 meters, not close enough to be an issue, but steadily becoming one, meter by meter. The mamba detects movement from a distance of 15 meters. Conventional hearing is out of the picture for the mamba. There is no external ear. There is no tympanic membrane facing the open air. The mamba knows something massive is approaching. It registers both the direction and relative distance, all before it even lays eyes on anything. The Innu pride holds territory in the northern core of South Luangwa. 8 adult lions, 6 cubs. Their range extends along a stretch of the Luangwa River, where acacia trees grow dense along the western bank. As the river contracts, the western bank begins to lose its vegetation cover. The terrain the Innu pride has hunted for generations is disappearing week by week. In the dry season, failed hunts multiply. Puku are medium-sized antelope that live along the Luangwa riverbanks. Within a puku herd, at least one individual is always positioned on elevated ground, scanning the surrounding area, while the others graze. Every 8 to 12 minutes, that role rotates to another individual. The herd never completely loses its early warning system. Puku can detect footsteps from 400 meters away. During daylight, the puku herd's collective alert system operates so effectively that lions can rarely close the gap. The Innu pride does not attempt to hunt in daylight. They wait for darkness. Behind the retina of a lion's eye lies a reflective layer. This layer bounces light back through the photoreceptor cells a second time, increasing a lion's visual sensitivity by 40 to 50% compared to daylight conditions. Puku have better hearing than lions, but at 80 meters in total darkness, a puku's reaction speed is not sufficient to evade an entire pride. The Innu pride needs many nights of failure before finding the right combination: downwind approach, the angle from which puku are least alert, and a pincer formation splitting the herd in multiple directions at once. The capacity to adjust tactics after each failure is what separates a lion from a rigid killing machine. Lions learn from experience, and the Innu pride has accumulated that experience across generations in this territory. Wind from the west, carrying the scent of the puku herd toward the lions. Not one puku detects a thing. The chase lasts fewer than 12 seconds. 3 nights of failure created 1 minute of success. That is a ratio that cannot be improved. The Inu pride will eat their fill tonight and will not need to hunt for the next 2 days. But this kill is not just the Inu pride's story. "17 minutes after the Inu pride begins feeding, spotted hyena emerge from the dark. A spotted hyena clan can number up to 80 individuals in favorable areas of the Luangwa. A clan of sufficient size can reclaim a carcass from lions in more than 70% of encounters. Tonight, the spotted hyena clan numbers only 4. This is how South Luangwa works. Every successful lion kill feeds more than the lion pride. Spotted hyena take what lions leave. Vultures clean what remains. Bacteria decompose the rest and return nitrogen to the soil. That sequence occurs after every kill, with every carcass, across 13 million years of this ecosystem's history. About 2 kilometers south of the Inu pride, a different behavior is underway in the early morning hours. The elephant herd uses trunks and tusks to dig down into the dry sand along the desiccated riverbed. Small wells are forming. Elephant can locate subsurface water beneath dry sand through precise tactile sensitivity at the tip of the trunk and from memory of water source locations retained from previous drought years. The wells elephant dig persist for many days after the herd has moved on. And smaller species, from puku to various bird species, will use those wells. In 2024, only 23 functional wells remained within the southern Luangwa zone. All 23 were dug by elephant. That is a survival skill passed from generation to generation within elephant herds across millions of years. To the east of the Inu pride's territory lies the largest Cape buffalo herd in the South Luangwa core zone. 400 to 500 individuals. The entire herd moves together, sleeps together, and makes decisions together. In 1996, ecologist Herbert Prince tracked a Cape buffalo herd at Lake Manyara, Tanzania, for 2 consecutive years. He observed a behavior that repeated every afternoon. Before the whole herd moved to find a night resting site, each adult cow would stand, stare fixedly in one direction for a few seconds, then lie back down. And the entire herd would ultimately move in the direction the majority of the cows had faced. What Prince discovered was evidence that Cape buffalo possess a collective decision-making mechanism. Each cow in the herd holds information about the surrounding terrain, drawn from her own experience. The nearest water source, where the best grazing is, where the herd has been attacked and must avoid. When all that information is pooled, the herd arrives at a decision, better than any individual could reach alone. The Inu pride knows that Cape buffalo within a large herd are a target they cannot attack head-on. When the buffalo herd senses lions nearby, the response is not flight. An entire lion pride cannot identify a weak point when the buffalo wall stands that tight. This is why the Inu pride prefers puku, but it is also why Cape buffalo in South Luangwa have coexisted with lions, with neither side ever dominating the other. Dehydration impairs the cognitive capacity and coordination of every individual in the herd. When an adult Cape buffalo loses more than 8% of body weight to water deficit, its ability to read the landscape and remember water source locations begins to degrade. In a herd of 400 to 500 individuals, the number approaching dehydration threshold increases every day. A group of young males has broken from the main herd and is searching for water to the south, away from the area where the larger herd has concentrated. Young males on the herd's periphery face higher risk, without the protection of the full herd around them. But if they locate a new water source to the south, the entire herd gains an additional movement option. This is the Inu pride's opportunity. African buffalo are formidable prey. As long as the lions have not yet brought it down, every attack is little more than surface damage. The lionesses do not give the buffalo herd the chance to mount a rescue. The Inu pride's dominant male ensures the entire pride feeds. The herd cannot intervene further. Their loss is the Inu pride's rare opportunity. The pride will not need to hunt again for several days. But lions are not the only ones who see an opening. Nile crocodile can dominate the river, but on land, it must get past multiple lionesses to take what it wants. This is the lesson in asserting dominance: to hold the kill, to hold the critical territory in the dry season. She must show the crocodile exactly where it stands. Midday. The lion pride pauses to rest by a small remaining watering hole. An acacia tree shades about 5 square meters of ground. And on the other side of the watering hole, a creature many times smaller is doing something no lion in the pride can understand. A honey badger faces off against a mature spitting cobra. The lion pride watches. If this were any other animal, the story would end right there. Why? The answer lies within the evolutionary history of this species, spanning millions of years. Acetylcholine receptors at the neuromuscular junction of the honey badger have undergone a specific mutation. An additional sugar molecule attaches to the protein chain to create a physical barrier, preventing the neurotoxin from finding an anchor point. It survives solely through a protein mutation, granted by evolution over millions of years of pressure from venomous snakes. Any biologist would agree. Size is never the end-all, be-all. But on this savanna, there are warriors who face venomous snakes even more effectively than the honey badger. For meerkat pups just 5 weeks old, school is the scorching sand. Lesson 1. Digging for prey. Lesson 2. How to handle a venomous scorpion. But the third lesson is the true defining line between survival and the end of the road. The Cape Cobra, a master hunter possessing neurotoxic venom, among the most potent in Africa. Facing it is a vulnerable young meerkat left behind. One-on-one, the odds are stacked against it. A single drop of venom is more than enough to end that tiny life instantly. But the venomous monarch has forgotten an ultimate law of the desert. Meerkats never travel alone. An entire meerkat mob surges forward, establishing an unyielding perimeter to lock down the predator. Dozens of tiny shadows draw their battle lines. Under the blazing sun, the young meerkats have learned the most valuable lesson for survival. The ultimate weapon to challenge the desert is family. The dry season is driving Africa's largest reptile to the edge. Nile crocodile have existed on Earth for roughly 200 million years. They have survived 5 mass extinction events in geological history. A Nile crocodile's jaws generate 22,000 newtons of bite force, 8 times that of the great white shark. The sex of a crocodile is determined by the temperature of the nest during incubation. At 31.6 degrees Celsius, most eggs hatch as males. When nest temperature rises above 33 degrees Celsius, the proportion of females among hatchlings can exceed 80%. That means within 1 to 2 generations, males will be scarce. Competition for mating will intensify, and the population recovery rate will slow significantly. Nile crocodile regulate body temperature entirely through behavior. In the dry season, with ground temperatures exceeding 40 degrees Celsius at midday, crocodile in South Luangwa must perform thermoregulatory behavior, almost continuously during peak heat hours. That burns energy they cannot replenish, because feeding frequency also drops when water is low and prey is more vigilant. The Nile crocodile's thermal crisis is a population-level reproductive problem. Rising nest temperatures do not only skew the sex ratio of the next generation, they also shorten viable incubation time for eggs in the nest. Egg mortality within the nest rises by 15 to 20% when temperatures exceed 33 degrees Celsius for more than 3 consecutive days. The few survivors that do emerge are watched closely by Africa's most powerful aerial predator. Fish eagles can detect fish beneath the surface from 30 meters altitude. They calculate the angle of light refraction through the water's surface before committing to the dive. In the dry season, at the remaining waterholes, fish eagles achieve their highest hunting success of the year. But those waterholes are also where two giants are locked in contest. Hippos spend most of the daylight hours submerged in water to maintain body temperature. As the water hole contracts, the number of hippo per unit of water surface climbs, until many individuals are forced to endure direct sun exposure for hours at a time. This is when what they secrete through their skin begins to demonstrate its function. A reddish-pink liquid that was once called blood sweat, though it is neither blood nor sweat in any conventional sense. Hipposudoric acid absorbs broad-spectrum ultraviolet radiation, functioning as a biological sunscreen. Nor hipposudoric acid adds antibacterial properties, effective against pathogens on open wounds. In a dry season waterhole, this mechanism protects hippo from infection. They are simply trying to hold their position in the pool, and their skin takes care of the rest. A waterhole on the western bank of the Luangwa River. A Nile crocodile has occupied the eastern edge of the pool since early morning. A hippo moves steadily from the river toward that waterhole. At comparable size, crocodile is fully capable of defending itself against a hippo attack. But in the tight confines of a dry season waterhole, a confrontation with hippo burns energy the crocodile cannot recover. The crocodile withdraws. African wild dog is the only canid species in Africa that has a full four-toed foot without a vestigial fifth dew claw. That is why African wild dogs can run continuously, at 48 kilometers per hour for more than 5 kilometers, without breaking stride. This species holds the highest hunting success rate of any large predator in Africa, reaching 80% in favorable terrain. But the IUCN estimates only around 6,600 adult African wild dogs remain globally. They are Africa's most endangered large carnivore. Low numbers are the result of habitat loss, disease transmitted from domestic dogs, and accidental deaths in traps set for other species. In South Luangwa, the wild dog pack in the core zone has declined to roughly 12 individuals. Before every wild dog hunt, there is a vote. This is voting behavior. When enough individuals within the pack sneeze within a short window, the entire pack rises and departs. In the dry season, the wild dog pack in South Luangwa is facing a new challenge. The impala herds, the wild dog's preferred prey, have consolidated close to the remaining water points. That means the terrain for the chase is no longer favorable. But near the water points, the broken terrain of riverbanks and dense undergrowth reduces the advantage of coordinated formation running. The South Luangwa wild dog pack spends 2 days observing before initiating a chase. Dawn is the only window in this dry season when temperature is low enough for wild dogs to complete a full-length chase without overheating. The wild dog's 80% hunting success rate carries a second ecological meaning. Unlike lions, who routinely leave large portions of a carcass behind, wild dogs consume prey so thoroughly that they leave almost nothing for scavengers or opportunists of any kind. While the wild dog pack calculates to the north, in the south of South Luangwa, another confrontation is unfolding. Leopard is the only large predator in Africa that habitually carries kills up into trees to keep them from scavengers and competing predators. This lioness is 13 years old. In wild populations, lionesses live to 15 or 16 years. Her top speed is approximately 30% less than a prime adult lion, but 13 years in South Luangwa has given her something speed cannot replace. Two species, two different survival strategies, assessing each other in silence. The leopard knows it cannot fight a lion directly. But this 13-year-old lioness also knows something the leopard has not anticipated. 13 years of experience tells her leopards do not fight when the risk outweighs the benefit. The lioness does not need to climb. She only needs to move enough to escalate the leopard's discomfort. "13 years is this lioness's true asset. Experience accumulated over time is something younger, stronger predators have no means of acquiring tomorrow." In an ecosystem as intact as South Luangwa, what we have just witnessed is not a collection of exceptional stories. These are ordinary mechanisms operating under extraordinary conditions. The tapetum lucidum behind a lion's eyes was not developed to prepare for the 2023 El Niño. The Cape buffalo's collective decision-making mechanism was not programmed to respond to any one specific dry season. Hippos acid was not synthesized to resolve conflict with Nile crocodile in a shrinking waterhole. All of these things already existed. El Niño only created the conditions that allowed us to see them operating with greater clarity than ever before. In 2023, the Carnivore Safeguard Luangwa, a conservation organization operating in the South Luangwa buffer zone, recorded the successful removal of 11 wire snares in the area bordering the core zone. In an ecosystem that operates as South Luangwa does, no individual exists in isolation. One lioness not taken by a wire snare means the Innu pride continues to maintain selective pressure on the Puku herd. The Puku herd continues to maintain competitive pressure on the riverbank grasslands. One individual in an ecosystem is not a data point. It is a link in a web of relationships that can extend across dozens of generations. What the 2023 El Niño revealed at South Luangwa is a catalogue of answers that evolution has already written. Each species confronting El Niño with a different adaptive system. Lions build that system through generational learning, Cape buffalo through collective decision-making, hippo through chemistry encoded in skin across millions of years. wild dogs through a status-weighted acoustic voting system. That is why South Luangwa in an El Niño year is the most valuable remaining evolutionary laboratory in Africa. El Niño is driving environmental change far faster than the pace at which evolution can keep up. This is the critical difference between an ecosystem that is adapting and an ecosystem being pushed beyond the adaptive threshold of each species within it. South Luangwa is doing something most protected areas in Africa cannot. It allows all of these adaptive mechanisms to continue operating within an ecosystem intact enough for the interactions between them to unfold naturally. Lions create pressure on puku. Puku adjust their behavior. That adjustment generates an adaptive response from the lions. That feedback loop can only occur when both species exist in sufficient numbers for long enough, in an environment large enough for selective pressure to have space to operate. That is what South Luangwa's 9,000 square kilometers is protecting. Not individual species, but the relationships between them. All of those answers are encoded in DNA, in behavior, in memory, and the accumulated experience of each individual in an ecosystem that remains intact. And when that ecosystem disappears, those answers disappear with it, completely and permanently. There is a species in South Luangwa that most Luangwa documentaries rarely mention. Klipspringer live on the steep rock faces along the valley walls where no other large mammal can reach. Their legs end in hard rubber tip hooves that allow them to stand on a surface smaller than a coin on a vertical rock face. Klipspringer typically live in lifelong mated pairs. One stands sentinel on high ground while the other feeds below. When danger approaches, the sentinel emits a sharp whistle that alerts not only its partner, but every species within earshot. Klipspringer are not a species in the direct focus of any major conservation program. They are not a flagship species, not a species that draws tourists. But the Klipspringer's alarm whistle from the cliff is a signal that puku on the valley floor have learned to read. South Luangwa exists today not because nature here is stronger than human pressure. It exists because over many decades, certain people decided this ecosystem was worth protecting intact. Those decisions were not always popular, with communities living near the park boundary. Not always easy to enforce, when economic pressure pushes people toward the buffer zone, but they created the conditions for a 13-million-year-old ecosystem. To keep writing biological secrets we do not yet fully understand. What South Luangwa shows us is not simply stories about remarkable species in a remarkable valley. It is evidence that solutions to the most complex survival pressures do not need to be reinvented from scratch. They are already written into every species that has existed long enough for evolution to encode them. Our task is to ensure those species are still here, to keep doing what evolution has programmed them to do. This is what South Luangwa is working to preserve, not landscape. Not individual counts in a statistical report, but the conditions for these biological secrets to continue existing and operating through each dry season, each wet season, each generation. If you want to keep following stories like this, subscribe so you never miss what we release next. The story of South Luangwa is not finished. The dry season will pass. The rains will return. The Luangwa River will rise again. And the Inu pride will continue writing its next secrets into the history of this valley. In the chest-high grass, a yellow shadow lies motionless, a lioness, not resting, waiting. 59 kilograms, nearly 2 meters long, pressed flat against the earth, her pale yellow coat dissolving perfectly into the dry grass. That camouflage transforms Africa's apex predator into a ghost completely invisible in open daylight. Golden eyes narrow, locked onto a herd of taupe antelope, eyes that see through swaying grass, separating the movement of prey from the movement of wind. In a lion pride, the males own the mane and a roar that carries 5 miles, nothing more. But the ones who feed the pride, who carry out up to 90% of all hunts, are always the lionesses. They hunt in coordinated groups with tactics of remarkable precision. One drives the prey forward from the front, while 2 others close silently from the flanks. A lioness is not the fastest animal on the savanna. Her top speed falls well short of the antelope she pursues. But she compensates with intelligence and the ability to read her prey, before the prey itself decides which direction to run. Every hunt is a chess match, and the lioness plays it better than any other big cat on this planet. But the prey is no easy target. The taupe antelope is the fastest antelope in East Africa. It detected the threat before the lioness had even left her ambush position. The reason they survived is a behavior almost no other antelope possesses: a dedicated sentinel system. A single individual separates from the herd, climbs the tallest termite mound in sight, and stands motionless for hours. Scanning the entire savanna with eyes, evolved to detect movement. At extreme distance, the moment danger is detected, the entire herd erupts like a breaking wave, reaching 60 miles per hour in the first few strides. Under the crushing heat of the savanna, the lioness stops, panting. This hunt is over. Today, speed defeated strategy completely. But on this savanna, one creature's failure is always another creature's opportunity. The dust cloud left by the fleeing taupe had not yet settled, when another pair of eyes tracked silently from the edge of the grassland. The spotted hyena, Africa's most misunderstood predator. Not the cowardly scavengers of legend. In reality, hyenas actively hunt more than 70% of their own meals. They hunt by endurance, sustaining 40 miles per hour, across mile after mile, until the prey collapses from exhaustion. The hyena's jaws generate the strongest bite force of any land carnivore on Earth. But the most remarkable thing about this species is its social structure. Spotted hyenas live in a strict matriarchal system, where females dominate males absolutely. The hierarchy is so rigid that the lowest-ranking female in the clan still outranks the highest-ranking male. Their social structure rivals that of primates. They recognize each other by voice, remember alliances and enmities, and make tactical decisions as a group. When a spotted hyena's spine-chilling laugh echoes across the savanna, that sound carries no joy. It is a sophisticated communication signal, encoding body size, location, and intent. A spotted hyena clan can number up to 80 individuals. Their disciplined, coordinated attacks and overwhelming numerical strength are so formidable that even the proudest lion prides have repeatedly been forced to yield. The hyena's numbers and the lion's roar may rule the savanna, but in Africa, death does not always arrive in a large form. Beneath the burnt dry grass and inside dark rock crevices, another killing force moves in silence. No bulging muscle, no crowd of numbers. Snakes survive through absolute stillness, and the deadliest weapon of all, venom. When these cold-blooded creatures face the continent's largest predators, from sharp-eyed eagles and stubborn honey badgers to the proudest of big cats, a new chapter of the survival war is revealed. On this battlefield, size loses every advantage. Between brute force and invisible venom, there is no room for mercy. The takeover has passed. Yet the dry season has not released its grip. And at the final meeting point for every species, the ultimate pressure awaits. It is the end of the dry season. 40 consecutive days have passed without rain. The lionesses have reunited after successfully avoiding the nomadic males. They are left with only 3 cubs. The entire pride gathers at the only remaining waterhole, within a radius of 9.6 kilometers. Every other water source has vanished. Within the reeds, an African rock python measuring 5 meters has been concealed for 3 days. A python does not pursue its prize in the manner of a lion. It does not engage in a chase. It does not emit a roar. It simply waits. One of the 3 observant lion cubs manages to keep an eye out and notices the hidden presence. The young female intends to discourage it, but this python has likely endured a lack of nourishment for too long. The 5-month-old cub possesses more curiosity and courage than seasoned tactical experience. The python does not remain passive. It lunges and makes contact with the young one's face. As a cry of discomfort rings out, her siblings arrive just in time. The python is forced to withdraw and slides away into the distance. The young ones offer comfort and groom one another. They understand that their numbers are few, and they must stand united. If you have journeyed with us this far, please share your thoughts on the bond between these lion siblings. Be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss any captivating stories about the lions of Africa. Stay tuned. As the struggle for survival for these young ones is far from over. The lions are secure. Another hunter, however, is not as fortunate. At a distance of 4.8 kilometers from the waterhole, atop a large marula tree, a black leopard mother has raised her only offspring. A black leopard is a melanistic variation of this mysterious large cat. The dark pigment is a result of a variation in the MC1R gene. They are quite rare in the lowlands of East Africa. Though the young male is over 1 year old and matches his mother in size, he remains in the sanctuary of the tree while she is away. Another African rock python, measuring approximately 3.7 meters, is drawing near the young leopard. While the mother is out providing, the young leopard finds itself in an unexpected encounter. A python's jaw is capable of stretching to 150% of its natural size. If the serpent succeeds in its hold, this young male would represent a significant prize for the 4-meter reptile. The constriction could cause his journey to end before he has a chance to break free. But this young male is a spirited little warrior. He has evaded a precarious situation. Next time, he would be wise to follow his mother to refine his skills. Their current residence is no longer a safe haven. Stretching for approximately 6,437 kilometers, the Amazon holds the title for the river with the greatest water volume on the planet. This ecosystem is divided into two contrasting personalities: white water and black water. Flowing from the Andes, the nutrient-rich white water carries an abundance of silt. In contrast, the black water branches possess high acidity that tests the limits of survival, driving the remarkable evolution of native fish. The Anhinga possesses a calculated set of skills, gliding beneath the surface like a serpent-like shadow. Its unique plumage allows this specialist to submerge to depths of 6 meters. When a target is sighted, its flexible neck delivers a lightning-fast strike. Its sharp beak pierces the prize with absolute precision. The black caiman presides over the wetlands as a premier hunter at the top of the food chain. This South American giant reaches a length of 6 meters and a weight exceeding 500 kilograms. With a lifespan reaching 70 years, they possess incredible endurance. The ability to forego nourishment for weeks or even months allows this reptile to adapt perfectly to a demanding environment. Its dark skin serves a dual purpose by providing camouflage in the murky depths and absorbing maximum warmth from the sun. Its vision pierces through the darkness thanks to a specialized reflective membrane within its eyes. Its most formidable asset is a bite with a pressure of 25,510,612 Newton per square meter, leading the world of crocodilians. This immense jaw strength easily processes even the most stubborn of prizes. The serrated teeth of the red-bellied piranha make them a notable presence, capable of navigating through their meal in the blink of an eye. They typically coordinate in groups of 20 to 30 individuals. A collective effort can reduce a target's weight by 35% in just a few short minutes. This hunter also demonstrates remarkable flexibility, willing to transition to organic remains or vegetation to sustain itself. The arapaima is a titan of the freshwater world, reaching 3 meters in length and weighing over 200 kilograms. This massive creature possesses the ability to breathe air directly due to a remarkable adaptation of its swim bladder. This unique biological trait allows it to thrive even in waters that are oxygen poor. The anaconda holds the throne among serpents with a length exceeding 9 meters and a weight over 200 kilograms. Its powerful body, covered in olive green scales with black patterns, allows it to move with absolute silence underwater. The placement of its eyes and nostrils near the top of its head enables this giant to observe its surroundings while remaining fully submerged. Rather than using teeth to conclude the encounter, the anaconda secures its target with a firm hold before consuming it whole. After consuming a large rival, like a black caiman, its metabolic rate spikes to 40 times its normal level. To process such a massive meal, the serpent enters a state of deep rest for weeks or months. Its heart naturally expands by an additional 40% to optimize blood flow during this intense digestive phase. Across the globe, these influential reptiles continue to preside. They do not merely serve as a backdrop, but are vital links in the circle of life. Let us return to Mozambique, Africa, where these reptiles are present in nearly every distinct environment. Long before any physical meeting takes place on these grasslands, it has already unfolded within an invisible realm. Every serpent on the Mozambique savanna carries an organ most mammals lack. The vomeronasal organ, also known as the Jacobson organ, located in the roof of the mouth. The forked tongue serves as a dual-directional chemical sampling tool. Its 2 tips measure molecular concentrations independently from 2 directions, allowing the snake to pinpoint scent sources in 3 dimensions with high precision. A snake, surveying its territory, may flick its tongue up to 22 times per second. When that frequency spikes, it indicates the creature has caught wind of something significant. Mambas and cobras read this grassland like a chemical map. Pheromones leave a trail on the ground as a snake moves, a path that persists for many hours after the traveler has departed. From a single trace, the serpent can determine the species, the direction of travel, and whether it passed recently or at daybreak. This is the silent language of the domain, interpreted by the tongue, not the ears. Yet there is one species that remains silent in this dialogue. The puff adder leaves no readable chemical footprint. It evolved to suppress its own chemical signature. Even cobras and mambas receive no chemical warning regarding the presence of a puff adder. The savanna's most patient serpent is not just hidden from sight. It is also absent from the chemical map others use to steer clear of one another. When two venomous species detect one another, and both realize they have found a rival, the next dialogue is written in body language. The black mamba lifts 1/3 of its body off the ground, leaning forward, not standing tall like a cobra, but stretching out as if signaling an impending strike. This signal is only sent when the snake truly intends to engage or needs to discourage a potential threat. The puff adder reacts quite differently. It is not a short puff. Instead, it is a sustained, deliberate sound compressed from the lungs. It is not meant as an empty threat, but to announce, "I am aware of you, and I am prepared." Why do two venomous species typically avoid one another instead of engaging? A snake lacks cross-resistance to a rival's venom. A physical injury means being unable to hunt. An inability to hunt leads to a slow fading away. Chemical systems evolved partly to allow species to recognize one another from afar and choose to bypass each other before the gap closes. Today, the territory lacks enough space for avoidance. The first encounter, the black-necked spitting cobra, a hybrid strategy, deploying its mist before closing in. The goal is to disable the puff adder's visual and sensory organs before it gets close enough for a counterstrike. The puff adder detects the approach late, not due to slow reflexes, but because the cobra's chemical signature is not its primary focus on the sensory map. A second encounter occurs in Ruaha. The snouted cobra is a formidable hunter with an instinct for pursuing other serpents. This cobra's venom targets the nervous system, causing muscle paralysis and a cessation of breath in a short window. This is vital in a high-stakes struggle. Whoever can beat the other to the punch and shut down their opponent faster wins. Not a single wasted movement. The snouted cobra grips the puff adder's head firmly. The snouted cobra's neurotoxins begin to paralyze every nerve impulse. The puff adder, once a powerhouse of muscle, is now an unresponsive form. The snouted cobra's feast begins at the opponent's head. This is the harsh reality, as well as a magnificent victory of the natural world. Each species reads the domain in its own way, through chemistry, heat, and vibration. Each speaks its own warning language, with hoods, mouth colors, and hisses. And each decides whether to engage or retreat based on its own internal calculation. As the empire crosses the Indian Ocean into tropical Asia, its influence remains undiminished. It reaches an evolutionary peak that is truly in a league of its own. Here, a specific serpent transforms another's venom into its own morning meal. And on a small island within the Java Sea, the empire's greatest secret awaits: a mystery that took science nearly 1 century to unravel. What happens when the apex predator itself chooses venom as its primary path? The dry season makes everything much more challenging. This lioness has just welcomed 2 little ones. She brought them into the world under harsh conditions. Lacking the experience to watch over them alone after a month, she decides to return to the pride. There, she can hunt and fill their bellies with mother's milk. Fortunately, the little ones blend in with the pride very quickly. As for their mother, a skilled hunter, she can focus on what she does best. The entire pride will move, as this parched land no longer offers enough prey for them. On these plains, everything is a brand new world. Every shadow is a mystery waiting to be explored. This is exactly why curiosity can be so costly with the most potent toxins. A Mozambique spitting cobra appears. It is less than 1 meter in length, the smallest of the African cobra family, but certainly not the least formidable. From a distance of 2.5 meters, the Mozambique spitting cobra has over 90% accuracy when aiming for the eyes. The cytotoxin will make contact with the corneal membrane, the eye's thinnest protective layer. Neurotoxin adds to the intense discomfort. Within the first few hours, an irreversible process has begun. They cannot undo what has occurred. This is a 24-hour countdown. That afternoon, the pride moves on. They must relocate, following the herds of antelope heading toward the northern waters. The mother has realized something is not quite right. The little boy is growing weak. Even a mother's gentle touch cannot save the cub. The clock is ticking on his time. Food is becoming increasingly scarce. The entire pride must compete over small antelope. If this situation continues, tension will be unavoidable. They must keep moving forward. After a full day, the length of a long slumber, the corneal cells begin to fade from the outside in. The left eye loses its clarity, turning a cloudy gray. He still tries to keep pace. Instinct is stronger than the ache. But the grasslands have become invisible. Every bush is a hurdle. Every hole in the ground is a pitfall. On the morning of the 3rd day, the pride makes its final move. The cub can no longer keep up. The distance between them grows. This wilderness has no room for affection when it becomes a burden the group cannot carry. The majority of young lions do not reach 2 years of age, and that reality makes it even more poignant. This is the way of the wild, not the law of the lions. The cub rests his head for the last time that afternoon. There are no more cries, only the sound of dry grass in the wind. The vultures already know what awaits them. The pride continues on its journey. This time, the mothers will be as cautious as possible around these legless reptiles. The little ones can stay close, but only when the snake is no longer a concern. Three weeks ago, this male lion still held a position, the highest rank in the power structure, but 2 younger males arrived and changed that. Now he wanders alone toward the northwest, 12 kilometers away from his former territory. Thin and hungry, solitary, guided only by instinct. This is the final chapter of his life, as he is clearly on his last legs. At 8 to 10 years old. The natural lifespan of a male lion in the wild. His sense of smell is no longer as sharp as it was during his reign. His mane is thinning out, a sign of his lowest testosterone levels. The lion, with senses worn down by years of struggle and movement, does not catch the subtle signals. If the black mamba takes action, it will surely prevail. The black mamba's fluid is primarily composed of neurotoxins. A single strike would cause nerve impulses to overload and lead to tremors, followed by muscle stillness. Intense muscle contractions and a slowing of breath follow. The chance of not making it through is nearly 100%. The lion starts and then moves away. There is no prey to pursue, no obvious rival to face. He continues on, a bit slower, but still moving. This is a creature that has weathered enough storms to know that fear settles nothing. He is unaware that this time, there is nothing left to settle. Dendrotoxins in the black mamba's system are blocking the channels at the nerve endings. Simultaneously, the fluid causes the heart's rhythm to lose its steady beat. Not violently, not suddenly, only a gradual silence of all things. The lion lies down, as he has done thousands of times before. This time, he does not rise. The mamba approaches after 10 minutes. In no hurry, exploring with its tongue, not its eyes. The remains are far too large to be consumed. No snake on this savanna could manage such a meal. The black mamba does not know it has just marked the end of an era. It was simply protecting its home, as it does every single day. About 200 million years ago, dinosaurs began their reign. The common ancestor of snakes, lizards, and iguanas developed early toxin glands. Since then, almost every species has learned one single lesson: steer clear. But not everyone. Some species chose to reinvent themselves in every single molecule of their being. The African mongoose, no thick hide, no venomous fangs, no obvious size advantage, yet it actively seeks out venomous snakes. This is not a case of being reckless. It is a masterclass in technique. The first technique. The mongoose does not go head-to-head. It provokes. Then it switches directions. Then it provokes again. One must never take their eyes off the opponent. The cobra's fangs make contact. But this is not a strike. The cobra has successfully guarded itself against becoming dinner for this yellow mongoose. And the mongoose, the nip startled it and let the snake slip away. It must find someone else for its evening meal. It is not just the yellow-furred ones. All mongoose subspecies are fond of venomous snakes. The Indian grey mongoose, the dwarf mongoose, the slender mongoose. With incredible speed and teeth as sharp as razors, they handle most of the venomous snakes that others avoid. Mambas, cobras, vipers. But why do they choose such high-stakes dinners involving the snake's potent toxins? Within the chain of thousands of amino acids that make up the mongoose's neural receptors, there is a unique link. At position 187 in the protein chain, one amino acid has shifted. This minor change adds a group of molecules that shields the contact point where neurotoxins need to latch on. The toxin arrives, finds the lock in the right spot, but the lock already has a molecular fragment filling the space. The key can no longer enter. To achieve the same effect on a mongoose, it would require a dose of toxin 200 times greater than what it takes for a laboratory mouse. It is the equivalent of an average person needing to take 200 sleeping pills instead of one to feel drowsy. A cobra bite, enough to bring down a large dog, is merely a temporary setback for a mongoose. And this is just the beginning for those who truly consider venomous snakes a staple of their daily diet. On the savannah, there is more than one resident with potent toxins. For the mamba, it is a matter of speed and the nervous system. For the cobra, it is about distance and precision. The third one does not require speed. It does not require distance. It only needs perfect patience and an appearance that is completely indistinguishable from its surroundings. The puff adder, It lies perfectly still. Its body temperature matches the ground, leaving no thermal trace to set it apart from the earth. But this is more than just a clever disguise. The puff adder is the only snake in Africa that can suppress its own chemical scent. Mongooses and weasels specifically trained to sniff out snakes fail at a much higher rate when facing this one. This is a creature that even specially trained service dogs cannot track down. But a young leopard has managed to locate it. He is much more careful than the little lion cubs. This is not just a game. With a long and varied menu, this snake will make an ideal appetizer. That is, if the leopard comes out on top first. If a strike lands, things will become much more difficult. The puff adder is one of the swiftest striking snakes in the world. Cell-altering agents will begin to break down tissue from the point of contact outward, not affecting the nerves, but rather every layer of living tissue from the inside out, slowly and irreversibly. If a leg is affected, the leopard will have to part ways with that limb. It is possible he was just reached by the snake, but he still finishes his small hunt. Perhaps he got lucky. It was a dry strike. But luck does not always favor the great predators. Eventually, the time will come when their journey reaches its natural conclusion. Indonesia. Komodo Island. The Java Sea. For decades, nearly a century of scientific observation, it was believed the Komodo dragon overcame its quarry using bacteria. Its mouth was thought to be teeming with microbes from organic remains. A single strike wouldn't finish things instantly, but health complications would take their toll over several days. The target escapes, the Komodo waits. Nature's microscopic cleaners handle the rest. That was the textbook narrative. In 2009, Brian Fry and a research team at the University of Queensland published entirely different evidence in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. A genuine venom gland, situated in the lower jaw, produces at least 4 specialized proteins: phospholipase, A2, CRISP, kallikrein, and natriuretic peptide. The architecture of this gland was more intricate than any reptile studied up to that point. It wasn't the microbes, it wasn't just luck. This is evolutionary engineering, refined over millions of years, overlooked because no one was looking in the right place. The Komodo dragon, 70 kilograms, weighing as much as an average National Football League lineman, 3 meters in length. It moves with the composure of someone who already knows the victory is in the bag. Kallikrein and CRISP within the venom disrupt the blood-clotting cascade. The wound refuses to close. The deer retreats, believing it has made a getaway. It covers 4 kilometers within 30 minutes. It feels secure. The Komodo pinpoints its target in 3 dimensions across several kilometers. There is no rush. The deer is experiencing internal complications with no way to stop them. The Komodo can sense every final step. And here is the bottom line. The Komodo is the top dog of its island home. It has no natural adversaries, no significant rivals. 2 continents, 6 distinct solutions. In engineering, we refer to this as convergent design, where 2 separate teams, working with different materials, arrive at the same optimal blueprint. Because there is a definitive solution for every specific problem, and with enough time and pressure, you will eventually hit the nail on the head. Evolution has all the time in the world, and its demands never cease. We look at venom and perceive a formidable risk. But evolution views venom as a technical challenge, one that has been solved 6 times, in 6 different ways, by 6 species that have no idea the others even exist. Each year, more than 2 million people experience snake encounters. Over 100,000 of them do not make it through. It is not because serpents are seeking us out. It is because the gap between our 2 worlds is closing faster than either side can adjust. On the Mozambique savanna where this story began, the grass still sways in the afternoon breeze. The empire remains, ever patient, ever enduring. Same empire, different landscape, different climate, yet the same evolutionary drive and creatures that have survived long enough under that weight to find solutions Africa never envisioned. The king cobra. Its Latin name literally means snake eater. This is the longest venomous serpent on the planet, reaching 5.5 meters. And its primary sustenance is other snakes, even cobras, even vipers, even the venomous species within the same habitat, the very ones most hunters give a wide berth. It tracks using its tongue rather than its eyes. It gathers chemical markers from the air, interpreting prey movement through invisible paths that other creatures fail to notice. As the gap narrows, it rises, lifting its head to a person's chest height, looking its adversary straight in the face. It is the only serpent to stare directly into an opponent's eyes at eye level. And its warning is not a sharp hiss, but a low growl, reminiscent of a large, agitated dog. However, its meals consist of venomous snakes, which can still release their toxins into the predator's mouth and stomach during the process. How does the king cobra avoid self-poisoning during its meal? The same molecular resolution, but a completely different mechanism. The king cobra developed resistance within its neural receptors through its own independent path. This marks the 5th time the same solution has been reached, born from the same pressure, following the same molecular path, yet through an entirely separate branch of life. And then there is this, a detail few realize. The king cobra is the only serpent on Earth that constructs a nest. The female gathers leaves, creating a multi-layered structure that maintains a steady temperature for the eggs within. Then she stands guard for 60 to 75 days. She does not wander, she does not eat, She simply protects. Any creature that wanders within 2 meters is engaged immediately, and when the eggs begin to crack, the female departs. This is not a case of giving up. Giving up is when options run out. This is the opposite. The female understands that after 75 days without nourishment, she might consume anything that moves, including her own offspring. She leaves at the precise moment before they emerge, ensuring she doesn't cross the line. Asia has taken the solution to a new height. But the final answer, the one that turns the logic of the empire upside down, resides on an island few associate with venom. The mongoose found a molecular solution, but one creature goes even further, and its way is what makes evolution truly unpredictable. The honey badger. According to the Guinness World Records, the world's most courageous animal. This title was earned because observers have noted the honey badger actively engages cobras, drives lions and leopards away from their meals, and approaches a puff adder with the same steady gaze as when seeking ordinary prey. That composure is built on a biological foundation. The first layer of protection is physical. A honey badger's skin on its neck and back measures 6 millimeters, thicker than the sole of a professional hiking boot. Beneath that is a layer of loose connective tissue, allowing the skin to move independently of the body within. It takes hold of its neck. The honey badger can roll with the punches within its own skin to bite back. The second layer of protection is molecular, and this is what makes the honey badger special in its own right. The mongoose adds a molecular fragment to block the contact point. The honey badger alters the electrical charge of that point. The neurotoxin no longer recognizes where to latch on. But evolution did not stop there. Hedgehogs found it too, at a different spot in the protein chain, through a completely separate evolutionary journey. When a cobra faces a hedgehog, it is not just dealing with thousands of sharp quills. Even if those sharp fangs find a gap, the hedgehog still possesses a molecular shield within its body. The hedgehog's cells have altered their structure, much like changing a lock so the toxin key can never fit. In their bloodstream, bodyguard proteins called erinacin are always on standby, ready to hold its own against any toxic molecules that have entered. Mozambique, a nation carrying the remnants of its history. Yet in the natural world, it is a masterpiece of endurance. These wilderness areas are far more than mere forests. They are biological engines operating at a breathtaking pace. Welcome to the southern tip of one of the planet's most magnificent fractures, the East African Rift System. At the heart of wild Mozambique, Gorongosa National Park is more than just a sanctuary. It is a living geological entity. Millions of years ago, the shifting of the Earth's crust formed a massive basin, a vast reservoir of nutrients known as the sump. This mechanism is remarkably straightforward yet powerful. Silt from the rivers has flowed here for millions of years, accumulating into a wealthy source of life energy. The result? An extraordinary concentration of large mammals and reptiles, transforming this area into a rare ecological tapestry, where tropical rainforest, dry savanna, and wetlands intertwine within a compact space. An arena where every square meter offers a chance for survival or the conclusion of a life cycle. Mozambique is situated entirely within the Zambesian bioregion, referred to by scientists as the genetic migration corridor. Molecular genetics studies as of the year 2025 have revealed a surprising fact. The lion and elephant populations here possess the highest haplotype diversity on the continent. Yet, if large mammals are the visible rulers, reptiles are the true living timelines. With their steady pace and unwavering loyalty to their territory, their presence allows scientists to interpret the big picture of this region's climate history over the past 10,000 years. They are silent witnesses, recording every breath of the earth. In Mozambique, solitary rocky peaks, Inselbergs standing tall like ancient watchtowers, and the arid western savanna create a rigorous arena for existence. In this land, the shadows are not the only challenge. The true trial often comes from the brilliant radiance of the sun. Look toward the sky. Higher than the heat waves rising from the earth, a spectral figure glides. Martial Eagle, a masterpiece of biological aerial engineering. Its eyes are far more than mere observation tools. They are living radar with peak vision nearly 4 times that of a human. 6 kilometers. Visualize this. From that distance, while a human eye sees only a blur of dust, this eagle has already locked onto the slightest movement of its target within the scorched grass. But the true scale of this eagle lies in the figures that modern science has recently decoded. Those recent global positioning system tracking studies have shattered all previous understanding of their range. A pair of martial eagles does not simply oversee a forest. They govern a realm spanning over 1,000 square kilometers. But as the shadow of the sky hunter passes by, another spectral presence rises directly from the soil. Look into the heart of Gorongosa National Park. Here, we do not merely see hunters. We are witnessing a trophic cascade in motion that is redefining the entire survival map of this region. Lion, sovereign of the grasslands. But in Mozambique, these royal bloodlines no longer follow antiquated patterns of pursuit. Modern science has identified a dramatic shift in their conduct, an extreme ecological versatility rarely seen anywhere else on the planet. Following the tireless efforts of the resurrection ecology model, the wetlands here began to expand, and the lion prides at Gorongosa underwent a culinary revolution to adapt. Rather than expending energy on exhausting pursuits of antelope across the dry plains, they have chosen to go toe-to-toe with the giants of the swamp, Nile crocodile and African rock python. Picture a life-altering struggle between the raw, muscular power of ancient reptiles and the sophisticated group hunting techniques of Africa's largest cat. Engaging armored crocodiles or massive rock pythons is not simply about nourishment. It is a bold survival strategy within a self-restoring ecosystem. When the one at the top of the food chain shifts focus, the entire system responds. This is the face of a new Mozambique. Fierce, evolving, and unpredictable. Beneath the shadows of the massive hunters, another graceful yet resolute presence glides on legs long as stilts. Meet the secretary bird. Do not let its slender frame and the elegant crest feathers on its head mislead you. This is one of the most specialized and efficient specialists of the savanna. In the world of venomous serpents, speed is the primary asset, but the secretary bird has taken pursuit techniques to a new peak of resolution. When encountering venomous serpents, it has no need for toxins, it utilizes pure kinetic force. 15 milliseconds. That is all the time it requires to deliver a decisive strike, faster than the blink of a human eye. Science has measured a remarkable strength behind this foot-driven move. An impact force 5 times the bird's own body weight. With the precision of a surgeon and the power of a sledgehammer, it resolves the encounter before the target can manage a response. In the arid western grasslands of wild Mozambique, this bird also demonstrates a sharp, opportunistic intellect. When wildfires sweep across the savanna while other species retreat in haste, the secretary bird steps into the heart of the embers. It patrols the edges of the flames where smaller reptiles and rodents are attempting to find a way out. Amidst the drifting smoke, this specialist appears like a final challenge, utilizing nature's upheaval to bring home the bacon with a bountiful feast. A perfect blend of mechanical power and resolute instinct. But take care. In the world of specialists, sometimes the most effective tool is not sharp claws or muscular power, but a preemptive move from a secure distance. Face the Mozambique spitting cobra. This is no ordinary serpent. It is an expert in chemical strategies. Its primary asset is a potent blend a unique mix of cytotoxins, which break down and erode cellular tissue, and neurotoxins, toxins that directly engage the nervous system. But what truly makes it a formidable presence is how it deploys this substance. Modern science has just revealed a chilling capability. This serpent does not spray its mist at random. It possesses the insight to recognize an adversary's face. Its sole and ultimate focus is the eyes. With the precision of a biological sharpshooter, the Mozambique spitting cobra can hit the bullseye with a 90% success rate at a distance of 2 meters. It calculates movement, aims directly at the pupils, and lets fly. In a savanna environment filled with large and spirited rivals, this is the most refined active defense mechanism. A firm message is delivered through its mist. Do not take another step unless you wish to trade sight for darkness and enduring discomfort. One small oversight, a second of distraction, and your world could fade into a toxic haze. If the cobra is a sharpshooter displaying its strength, the next one on this list is a directional mine concealed beneath dry leaves. Be mindful of the puff adder. In the demanding world of the savanna, visual camouflage is not always enough. Therefore, the puff adder has evolved a remarkably rare biological privilege: chemical crypsis, or chemical concealment. While every living creature releases scent molecules like a name tag in the wild, this serpent has reached a state of absolute olfactory invisibility. Latest field studies have uncovered a startling truth. Even the most skilled trackers like African painted dogs or the most clever hunters are completely at a loss when facing a stationary puff adder. It simply does not exist in the adversary's world of scent. This transforms puff adders into zones of absolute stillness on the savanna floor. You cannot see it, and now you cannot scent it. It erases its presence from every sensory map of its prey and rivals, patiently waiting for an unintended footstep to enter its range. A scentless, silent, and entirely resolute trap. Yet, amidst the vertical stone mazes of the north, survival requires an entirely different level of sophistication. Step into the realm of the Inselbergs, where the boundary between the earth and sky is blurred by a spotted phantom. The leopard. In Mozambique, they are not just ghosts of the thicket, they have evolved into true vertical climbing experts. Evolution has forged the muscle and claws that allow them to master upright stone walls as if they were ordinary branches. In these rocky highlands, gravity no longer seems to be a barrier for this ambitious hunter. And this is where instinct meets adaptive intelligence. New science has revealed a unique behavior found only among Mozambique's stone dwellers. The cold storage technique. Instead of expending energy to haul a prize up into sparse trees, leopards at the Inselbergs utilize narrow, deep and cool rock crevices as natural refrigerators. This behavior is an optimal defensive strategy to deal with the persistent attention of hyenas. Between narrow cracks that even the most determined scavengers cannot squeeze through, the leopard's meal is perfectly preserved within the steady temperature of ancient stone. A specific adaptation to the Mozambican terrain, making this hunter the undisputed ruler of the solitary peaks, where explosive power meets the most refined strategic calculation. Far beyond the ways of solitary hunters, the true strength of the savanna lies in an incredibly disciplined and sophisticated organization. Enter the world of the African wild dog. Do not be misled by their wild appearance and mottled coats. You are facing the most democratic social structure on this planet. While most hunters operate under the absolute authority of a leader, the African wild dog has chosen a different evolutionary path. Collective consensus. Biologists in Mozambique have just decoded a remarkable secret in their communication. A decision-making mechanism science calls sneeze voting. Observe a pack of African wild dogs before they set out. It is not a random outburst. As the intent to hunt begins to take shape, a referendum is established. Each sharp sneeze emitted by the members is not a sign of illness, but rather a biological electronic vote. And this is where mathematics meets instinct. The entire pack will not take action until the number of sneezes reaches a specific threshold, a quorum. Once this number is satisfied and everyone is on the same page, an invisible command sweeps through the pack's nervous system, triggering the entire hunting engine into action. This is the most vivid evidence of complex communication among carnivores ever recorded. In Mozambique, democracy is not just a social concept, it is the ultimate advantage that helps the African wild dog achieve the highest success rate in the natural world. One sneeze, one vote, and a systematic resolution. But even the most intricate social structures must eventually yield to an evolutionary pressure far more profound than any other human activity. Look toward the giants of Gorongosa National Park, the African elephant. They are not merely icons of the savannah. They are living proof of a poignant and remarkable biological phenomenon, reverse evolution. During the darker decades of Mozambique's history, a rigorous selective pressure was placed upon this population. The pursuit of ivory did more than simply conclude the journeys of individual members. It rewrote the genetic code of an entire species. The percentage of female African elephants born without tusks at Gorongosa surged from a natural 18% to a staggering 50%. No tusks, no white gold, no remaining reason to be pursued. This is a desperate genetic maneuver to ensure they keep their heads above water. Yet, as their physical form shifts, their role within the ecosystem transforms accordingly. Tusks were originally precision tools for debarking trees and tilling the soil. These tuskless elephants are completely altering their dietary habits, consuming significantly less tree bark. An unexpected ecological outcome emerges. They have unintentionally become the guardians of the open woodlands. By setting aside their most distinguished asset, these giants are allowing the sparse forests a chance to flourish once again. In wild Mozambique, these titans are evolving right before our eyes, shaped not by the slow hand of Mother Nature, but by the intense footprint of humanity. A quiet transformation, an icon being redefined. While the giants are quietly rewriting their genetic code for survival, a prehistoric guardian on Mozambique's sun-drenched western borders is fulfilling a vital mission: face the white rhinoceros. Do not let the thick armor and imposing presence mislead you. This is not merely a heavy grazer. In the eyes of ecologists, they are biological lawn mowers operating with incredible efficiency. Unlike other grazers, the white rhinoceros possesses a distinctive wide mouth structure, allowing them to sweep close to the ground with absolute precision. They do not graze at random, they engineer the landscape. By keeping the grass extremely short, they unintentionally create a strategic defense system for the entire region. Natural fire breaks. During the rigorous dry season, when the savanna winds begin to fan spirited flames across the plains, these spaces maintained by the white rhinoceros become essential boundaries. The fire lacks the fuel to spread, coming to a halt right before the threshold of sparse forests and critical biodiversity zones. A silent guardian, a living shield against the sweep of wildfires. In wild Mozambique, the white rhinoceros serves as a prehistoric firefighter. Protecting the soul of this land from the sun's intensity through its persistent presence. A perfect illustration of how their behavior ensures the ecosystem is on the safe side. If the white rhinoceros is the steel shield of the grassland, the next spectral figure we encounter is a venomous arrow gliding across the soil. A name sufficient to make anyone's pulse falter: the black mamba. This is the elite track athlete of the reptile world, reaching speeds of 20 kilometers per hour within the confined spaces of the savanna. This is no longer a crawl. It is a swift, unavoidable encounter. But speed is merely the introduction. Within the ink-black maw, the feature that gives this serpent its name, lies a potent chemical collection. Its venom contains dendrotoxin. Consider this a master key protein. It directly engages and secures the potassium channels in the victim's nervous system, causing all biological electrical signals to pause immediately. It does more than cause discomfort. It concludes one's journey by completely dissolving the communication network between the brain and the body. However, modern science in the northern rocky regions of Mozambique has revealed a paradoxical truth about this legendary figure. Contrary to its reputation for intense spirit, the black mamba is actually an extremely shy recluse. They consistently prefer to retreat rather than engage, effectively avoiding a scene. Yet do not underestimate their endurance. When the sun is at its peak and the intense warmth of central Mozambique becomes overwhelming, forcing most other reptiles to seek the shadows to avoid thermal strain, the black mamba remains active. Utilizing a superior thermoregulation system, they challenge the boundaries of biology. A perfect blend of lightning speed, the precision of a neural specialist, and the endurance of a true warrior under the searing heat of Africa. A phantom that never rests, even under the most intense sunlight. In the realms where reptiles govern through apprehension and solitude, an elder of a different kind occupies the savanna with loyalty and the endurance of time. Meet the southern ground hornbill. In a world where journeys often conclude in a heartbeat, this bird stands as a symbol of longevity. With a life cycle that can span 60 years, matching a human lifetime. They do not merely exist, they are calling the shots across the plains. Listen to the deep, resonant sound booming like thunder from the horizon. That is more than just a call. It is a low-frequency broadcast, a biological infrasound capable of piercing the dense African air to travel up to 3 kilometers. It is a declaration of territory etched into the atmosphere through sound. Yet, the true strength of the southern ground hornbill lies in a social structure that ornithologists describe as noble clans. They operate through cooperative breeding, a sophisticated communal approach to raising their young. Here, the concept of a solitary parent does not exist. The entire group, from the young males to family members, joins forces to protect and nourish a single offspring. Within the demanding wilderness of wild Mozambique, a young warrior only reaches maturity with the backing of an entire kingdom. In this nation, science and tradition have joined hands to create a protective shield for this lineage. The local people revere them as messengers of the rain. In their worldview, causing harm to a southern ground hornbill is akin to turning one's back on the vitality of the land. This reverence grants them a privilege that no conservation law could ever match. A culturally protected sanctuary that allows them to wander peacefully away from the reach of hunters. They are the sentinels of the rains, the guardians of the lineage. A testament to the power of connection in a world filled with specialists. Amidst a world of neutral camouflage and quiet concealment, a gem appears that is almost too vibrant to believe. Behold the lilac-breasted roller. Recognized as the national bird of the savanna, it wears a coat of 7 rainbow colors. A display of brilliance that seems to challenge every rule regarding the stealth of specialists. Yet in the world of wild Mozambique, this magnificent beauty is not just for show, it is a declaration of bold adaptation. Biologists have recently uncovered a different side of this bird. One filled with character and grit. They are genuine fire chasers. While most other creatures retreat in haste from savanna wildfires, the lilac-breasted roller does the opposite. They head straight toward the smoke and flames with a resolute calculation. They fly right along the edge of the rising flames, utilizing the landscape's transition to conduct an aerial harvest. As insects emerge in haste from the scorched vegetation, they immediately enter the sights of this rainbow specialist. This is not mere recklessness. It is a magnificent demonstration of perfect adaptation to the natural fire cycles of the savanna. An unusual blend of ethereal beauty and sharp opportunism, turning the challenges of others into a bountiful feast for themselves, right in the heart of the flames. a symbol of brilliance rising from the embers. Beneath the shadows of those vibrant figures in the sky, a master of perception remains hidden within the leaves. Observe the flap-necked chameleon. It possesses a biological monitoring system that would be the envy of any engineer. Two turret-like eyes that operate entirely independently of one another. It does not simply look, it scans. A 360-degree panoramic view of its surroundings is processed simultaneously. While one eye remains fixed on a potential meal, the other stays highly alert for any interested parties. In its world, the concept of a blind spot does not exist. However, the true genius of this reptile lies in its skin, a language written in color. For decades, we believed its ability to shift shades was merely a cloak of invisibility. We were mistaken. Modern science has identified the true purpose of this chromatic performance. It is a sophisticated tool for thermoregulation, managing body temperature, as well as an expressive social communication system. In a land with extremely high ultraviolet intensity like Mozambique, the skin of the flap-necked chameleon acts as a sensitive biological sensor. Their colors shift in tone according to the intensity of the tropical ultraviolet rays, darkening to absorb warmth or lightening to reflect the searing radiation. This is not just a change in appearance, it is a survival dashboard. A declaration of territorial presence or a spirited emotional signal, broadcast in the highest resolution across every scale, a perfect blend of precision mechanics and biological expression. Yet, as our gaze shifts from the foliage back to the vastness of the sky, a unique silhouette appears, challenging every standard aerodynamic rule: the battler eagle. Its name is a poetic French tribute to tightrope walkers. Observe that characteristic rocking flight style, a persistent tilting to maintain balance on the rising heat currents. Lacking a long tail to serve as a steady rudder, it must constantly adjust its wide wings, gliding on an invisible wire in the air with remarkable composure. This is not a casual stroll. It is a survival marathon. The battler eagle can spend 8 to 9 hours a day, nearly the entire duration of daylight, patrolling the arid skies of Mozambique. Its level of persistence is off the charts, as it searches for any trace of organic remains or small reptiles caught in the open below. It is a steadfast sentry, a tireless observer of the savannah. Yet the most startling secret of this eagle lies not in its wings, but in the skin of its face and legs. Consider this a biological, psychological mirror. New science has discovered that the vibrant red tones on their body are not fixed. They have the ability to shift hues based on their internal psychological state. When facing unease or pressure, the vivid red fades, revealing their inner emotional world through an immediate physiological response. It is not just a specialist, it is a sensitive living entity whose every state of mind is projected directly onto its outer layer. A perfect blend of superior flight skills and a refined biological expression system. As we leave the scorched rocky highlands and head toward the lifeblood of Mozambique, the Zambezi River Basin. This is a world of wetlands where water provides more than just life. It is an arena filled with heavyweight opportunists. Listen closely. A resonant, clear, and commanding sound pierces the air. The African fish eagle. Known as the voice of Africa, its call serves as the acoustic signature of the entire continent. Beneath the grand appearance of an icon lies a hunting specialist refined down to the smallest detail. The secret is in the feet. Science has identified a sophisticated biomechanical design beneath its soles, tiny spikes known as spiracules. These are specialized scales that function like a hydraulic sawtooth system, helping it secure the slipperiest fish the moment they leave the water. A single touch, a firm grip, and the prize is committed to its final chapter. However, recent behavioral studies in the Zambezi Basin have revealed a calculated side to this bird. They are not just skilled fishers, they are true pirates of the sky. Welcome to the world of kleptoparasitism, a strategic system of claiming another's meal. Why expend energy on a risky plunge when someone else has already done the heavy lifting? The African fish eagle frequently carries out swift raids on the massive Goliath heron, forcing the opponent to yield its prize right from its beak. a resolute survival strategy, maximizing energy conservation with a great deal of cleverness. In wild Mozambique, a true ruler knows how to prevail with strength and how to secure what they need through sharp opportunism. An icon of majesty, carrying the spirit of a grand acquisitor. But while the specialists rule the sky and the water, a miracle of physics is unfolding within the floating carpets of vegetation. Observe the African jacana. In the world of ornithology, it is known as the lily trotter. The secret lies in a unique biomechanical design, feet with unusually long toes. This is a masterclass in the absolute distribution of weight. By spreading its body mass across a vast surface area through those elongated toes, the African jacana can glide over fragile lily pads without disturbing the water. It is not merely walking, it is challenging the rules of pressure to remain atop a surface where others would find themselves in deep water. However, the truly revolutionary aspect of this bird is not its gait, but a social structure that turns traditional patterns upside down, polyandry. In the Zambezi Basin, the African jacana breaks every gender-based expectation in the natural world. The females are the dominant entities, larger, more spirited, and resolute in protecting their territory. They maintain a group of several males, and these males are among the most dedicated fathers on the planet. The entire responsibility, from tending the eggs to raising the young, rests on the father's shoulders. And here is the most iconic image of survival in these wetlands. When a threat emerges from beneath the surface, the male performs a one-of-a-kind rescue. He tucks his young ones securely beneath his wings, transforming his body into a living life raft, and rushes across the lily pads to find sanctuary. A startling paradox of the natural world. But it is not only land-dwelling creatures that found a solution. The brown snake eagle represents the next piece of this venom-defying puzzle. Its diet includes cobras, vipers, and most of Africa's larger serpents. Though lacking natural immunity, it possesses the upper hand through a specialized advantage. Its leg scales are significantly thicker and tougher than those of other birds of prey. Over millions of years, these scales evolved into specialized armor for one specific type of quarry. The cobra's hood is certainly no accident either. It was shaped by the very birds that pursue it. A wider frame appears more imposing and difficult to handle from above. Cobras with broader hoods weathered more of these close encounters. The eagle's keen vision simplifies everything. Across millions of years, the hood became increasingly prominent. The eagle adapted in step, a never-ending dance of parallel evolution. Nowhere is truly safe in the wild. Every pair of eyes is quietly watching, waiting for a single mistake, however small. One careless moment, and fate changes in the blink of an eye. Here, only those who can adapt will survive. A radiant dawn breaks over the East African horizon. This is the oldest continent where life on land began and has never stopped testing itself. In that still dim light, a sound tears through the stillness, the thunder of hooves pounding the parched earth. A desperate, gasping breath rings out. A dark shape sweeps low through the tall grass. In Africa, peace is always the most fragile thing. It is a lioness. Her amber-yellow eyes are locked on the target ahead. On this land, the true hunters of the pride are not the males with their heavy manes, but the females. The dry season has dragged on for weeks on end. The rivers slowly run dry. The grass burns yellow from one horizon to the next. As the water sources shrink, every animal is forced to crowd into the same stretch of lower river, and conflict becomes unavoidable. On this land, the line between predator and prey is not as clear as you might think. The hippo, a creature that looks so slow, in fact causes more deaths than almost any other large mammal in Africa. The crocodile is more patient than any killer, and sometimes the smallest creature is the longest lived. In the distance, a herd of kudu is grazing. They have no idea the hunt has already begun. The lionesses spread out, forming an ambush formation. Then they explode, reaching a top speed of nearly 80 kilometers per hour in the first few seconds. In an instant, the kudu goes down. Fast, precise, and merciless. But here, no one gets to enjoy a meal in peace. The sounds of the hunt have carried far. On the horizon, the shapes of spotted hyenas have begun to appear. The meal must end quickly. In Africa, time is on no one's side. Blood seeps slowly into the dry grass. The sun climbs higher, and downstream, another conflict is simmering beneath the water. At midday, the sun beats straight down on the river. A pod of hippos lies crowded together in the shallows, only their eyes and tiny ears showing above the surface. The dominant male, weighing over 1.5 tons, holds the deepest water. This territory is inviolable. A young male steps into the forbidden zone. He refuses to back down. The dominant male lunges instantly, like a torpedo, sending water spraying everywhere. It is all over in a few short seconds. The young one submits and retreats to save his life. The water returns to its original stillness. In Africa, the most dangerous creature is not always the one that looks the most fearsome. Not far off, on a large acacia branch, sunlight filters through the leaves in dappled patches. A leopard lies stretched out, its spotted coat blending perfectly into the shadows of the leaves, leaving it almost invisible. Below, an impala strolls past, without the slightest awareness. The leopard does not need darkness to hide. Its coat is perfect camouflage in broad daylight. A single flick of the tail is the only signal it gives. Then it launches itself down from the branch, an utterly precise, clean pounce. Its jaws lock onto the prey's throat. And then the extraordinary begins. It hauls prey nearly its own body weight up the tree, step by step, on the sheer strength of its jaws and neck alone. High above, the meal is kept absolutely safe from opportunists like lions and hyenas. The sun slowly touches the horizon. The sky blazes a fiery red. The shadows of the acacias are etched in black against the burning backdrop. The roar of a lion echoes across the savannah. This continent has watched life begin. Do not let it watch life fade away. The beauty of the Serengeti does not lie in whether it is gentle or fierce. It lies in how every single piece fits like a glove, even the ones that are hardest to see. From February in Ndutu, where 400,000 calves are born within 3 weeks, to July at the Mara River. None of these species exist in isolation. There is no final chapter to this story, only a subsequent chapter that mirrors the one before, yet never repeating itself entirely. Each year, the herd follows the same route, but no 2 years are ever the same. The rains arrive earlier or later. A stretch of the river shifts its course. A new lion pride claims the old territory. The circle is not a static loop. It is a river flowing indefinitely through the very same bed, where the water is never the same water twice. Here is a question we would like to leave you with. Of all the species you have just encountered, which one changed how you view the Serengeti the most? Not the most beautiful one, not the most spectacular one. The species that once understood makes you see this entire ecosystem in a whole new light. Please leave your answer in the comments below. Now, get ready for a new journey, an ancient civilization, alive with extraordinary creatures that give the million-year migration a run for its money. Along the western coast of South America, a colossal wall of stone rises beneath the blue sky. This is the Andes, the longest mountain range on Earth. Stretching over 8,900 kilometers across 7 countries, from Venezuela all the way to Argentina, the Andes is more than just a natural boundary. It is where the land meets the sky, the spine of the continent, a witness to millions of years of the planet's shifting crust. Beneath that bedrock lies the lasting imprint of a collision between 2 tectonic plates. The Nazca Plate from the Pacific Ocean is steadily being pushed beneath the South American plate. Bit by bit, the pressure from this movement forces the rock upward, forming a chain of towering peaks. In some areas, the range stretches as wide as 330 kilometers, with an average elevation reaching around 4,000 meters. These deep geological processes continue to this day, occasionally shaking the ground with earthquakes or reawakening volcanoes that have lain quiet for centuries. The Andes landscape is like a living painting, shifting with every meter of elevation. Starting from the lowland tropical forests, known as the Ceja de Montaña, or mountain eyebrow, the forest gradually transforms into misty cloud forest. Climbing higher leads to the cold Paramo grasslands, where tough grasses, low shrubs, and remarkable water-storing plants thrive. Reaching up to 4,500 meters, the polylepis tree still holds its ground, with twisted trunks and paper-like bark a living testament to survival where oxygen runs thin. The climate along the Andes is a complex symphony of ocean winds, altitude, and terrain. To the west, where the mountains meet the Pacific Ocean, the air is often dry. This is the region known as the Dry Andes, shaped by rain shadow effects and the cold Humboldt Current. In contrast, the eastern slopes receive moist winds from the Amazon Basin and the Caribbean Sea, creating a lush, wet mountain zone where cloud forests and montane rainforests flourish. Nestled between two branches of the Andes, the Altiplano Puna Plateau sits at an elevation of 3,700 meters, stretching from southern Peru through Bolivia to northern Chile and northwestern Argentina. Though not a fertile land, this region became the foundation of the largest indigenous civilization in South America. The climate here is harsh and unpredictable. Daytime temperatures can be mild, reaching up to 15 degrees Celsius, but after sunset, they quickly plunge to -5 degrees Celsius or lower. The landscape of the Altiplano Puna is mostly open grasslands, dotted with small wetlands in lower areas where meltwater from the surrounding mountains gathers to form temporary ecosystems. In more humid areas, the presence of high-altitude grasslands and marshes creates small wetlands that retain water and maintain moisture throughout the year. Beneath these low-lying plants lies a layer of peat that has formed over thousands of years, with an average thickness of around 4.7 meters. It was on this land that the Inca developed techniques to use native vegetation for livestock, domesticate animals adapted to high elevations, and learn to harness water sources from melting snow and ice. On the Puna Altiplano Plateau, the top resident predator is the culpeo, also known as the Andean fox. But it is not a true fox. The culpeo belongs to the genus Lycalopex, making it more closely related to wolves and jackals than to its northern red fox cousins. An adult male can weigh up to 11.4 kilograms, making it the second largest member of the Canidae family in South America, after the maned wolf. The culpeo ranges throughout the Andes, from the temperate rainforests of southern Chile to the dry deserts and icy highlands of the north. Its survival in these extreme environments has become a symbol of adaptation. In the Altiplano Puna region, where daily temperature swings can reach 25 degrees Celsius and oxygen levels hover around just 60% of sea level, culpeos are able to regulate body heat, remain agile, and continue hunting effectively. Ecological studies published by the Patagonia Institute of Ecology show that individuals living between 4,000 and 4,800 meters tend to be more compact, conserving energy and adapting their reproductive cycles to the harsh highland climate. The culpeo's diet is classified as highly flexible. It is an opportunistic predator, meaning it adjusts its diet with the seasons and available resources. About 60% of its food intake comes from highland rodents. When those are scarce during the dry season, it shifts to eating small birds, lizards, eggs, and sometimes berries or carrion, including guanaco or camelid, remains left behind after seasonal hunts. There have been rare cases where culpeos prey on lambs, an uncommon behavior but one that has caused conflict with humans in certain grazing areas, particularly along the Argentina-Chile border, leading to persecution in those zones. The culpeo's hunting strategy is a blend of stealth, patience, and bursts of speed. Rather than overpowering prey, it relies on its sharp hearing to detect faint sounds of movement beneath the grass. On rugged terrain and among low vegetation, it moves almost silently. When it strikes, it launches with a quick, decisive leap, delivering a bite to the neck or head to swiftly subdue small prey. The Culpeo's evolutionary history includes an unexpected chapter: domestication. The Yagan people of Tierra del Fuego once domesticated this animal, creating the Fuegian dog, a dog breed genetically unrelated to modern domestic dogs, which trace their lineage to the grey wolf. The Fuegian dog is a rare example of independent animal domestication in South America, though the breed became extinct in the 20th century due to cultural and lifestyle changes among indigenous communities. Today, the Culpeo continues to play a vital role in the highland food chain. It helps regulate rodent populations, an essential check to prevent ecological imbalance. Familiar to indigenous peoples across South America, the guanaco is the wild ancestor of the llama, domesticated since the time of the Inca. With a slender build, standing about 107 to 122 centimeters tall and weighing around 90 kilograms, deep black eyes, and long lashes that shield against wind and dust, the guanaco emerges as a symbol of grace amid the grey, rugged landscape. Its coat is made up of two layers: a soft underlayer for warmth close to the skin, and a coarse outer layer that shields against the biting cold winds. Their colors range from light brown to cinnamon with white bellies, blending seamlessly with the muted grays and browns of the Puna grasslands and salt-covered slopes. The Altiplano does not offer life an easy path, yet the guanaco's body has adapted to the harsh rhythm of this land. Like the ancient Inca, their blood holds an unusually high concentration of red blood cells, rich in hemoglobin with a strong affinity for oxygen. This allows them to absorb oxygen efficiently, even in an atmosphere where oxygen levels hover around just 60% of what they are at sea level. Thick foot pads and two nimble toes help them cross slippery gravel, cracked salt flats, and steep mountain slopes like seasoned athletes, reaching speeds of up to 56 kilometers per hour. Guanacos live in herds. One dominant male leads a group of females and their young. Younger males without territories form bachelor groups, moving along their own paths, like warriors waiting for their time. Their communication is rich and varied, from sharp warning calls and forceful backward kicks to the curious act of spitting, a behavior that carries powerful messages about dominance and social boundaries. Across the Altiplano Puna region, the guanaco's journey of survival follows migration routes guided by the cycles of water and grass. During the dry season, they descend to lower areas where patches of marshland still collect meltwater. When the rains return and the highlands flood and become difficult to traverse, they move upward again to avoid the rising waters and the renewed activity of predators. Rising above the limits of human habitation, Llanca, the snowbound zone of the Andes, spans elevations from 4,800 to nearly 6,900 meters. This is where South America's tallest peaks rise, stretching along the entire spine of the Andes from north to south. The climate here is brutally unforgiving. Temperatures remain below 0 degrees Celsius year-round, winds are fierce, precipitation is minimal and mostly in the form of snow. With intense solar radiation and thin air, this realm sits beyond the threshold of life. Though it hosts no permanent life, Llanca plays a vital ecological role. Glacial ice accumulates snow during the cold season and slowly melts during the dry season, supplying water to lower elevations. From 2000 to 2019, meltwater flow in the Andes averaged 583.5 cubic meters per second. In the Inca worldview, Janka was the sacred domain of the Apu, guardian mountain spirits, worshipped as symbols of strength and life. Though no one lived at these heights, the Inca journeyed here to perform ceremonial offerings and to reinforce spiritual authority. Meltwater from the glaciers was considered a gift from the Apu, channeled to nourish terraced fields, valleys, and irrigation systems throughout the Andes. The Andean condor is more than a symbol, it is a marvel of adaptation. Weighing up to 15 kilograms and with a wingspan reaching 3.3 meters, it ranks among the largest flying birds in the world. In flight, it appears as a massive black shadow sweeping across the snowy sky like a silent eagle. What makes this bird extraordinary is that, despite its size, it flaps its wings for only about 1% of its flight time. For the vast majority of its journey, it glides effortlessly, perfectly riding thermal currents and mountain winds to stay aloft. One study recorded a single Andean condor flying continuously for over 5 hours, covering 172 kilometers, without flapping its wings once. In the perilous frigid air of the Janka zone, that ability is a key to survival. On sheer cliff faces rising above 5,000 meters, far beyond where humans can go, Andean condors nest. They reproduce slowly, laying just one egg every 2 years, and incubation takes nearly 2 months. Once hatched, the chick relies on its parents for close to 2 years, undergoing careful training to survive in the treacherous skies above the valleys. It's a slow life cycle, but a necessary one, as Andean condors can live up to 70 years, with some in captivity reaching 79. This long life, paired with a low reproductive rate, makes every individual irreplaceably valuable. Today, fewer than 6,700 mature Andean condors remain worldwide. In Ecuador, the population has dwindled to fewer than 150 individuals. In Colombia, estimates range from 175 to 269. These are the latest figures as of 2024, reported by conservation groups across the Andes. Shrinking habitats, dwindling food sources, poisoning, and reckless hunting have caused the condor to disappear silently from many skies. Across the misty Andean heavens, a dark shape with a wingspan over 3 meters glides through the cold air like a blade. Its mastery of wind currents allows it to remain perfectly balanced with minimal effort. Its sharp eyes follow the faint, uneven breath of a lone animal below. Down below, a lone animal stumbles across the drifted snow. Its back arched, legs buckling, breath rasping. It has run out of strength. The Andean condor locks on immediately, widening its circle while slowly lowering its altitude in quiet anticipation. Then, the animal collapses in silence. No cry, no movement. In that instant, the condor folds its wings and dives with precise speed. It lands beside the fallen body, its bald head plunging deep into the belly. Everything is done with practiced ease, as if it's performed this ritual 1,000 times. The oil glands in its feathers protect it from getting wet, even while standing amid melting snow. And the bare skin on its head keeps it clean, while feeding deep inside decaying flesh. A massive scavenger with a rugged exterior. Yet to the indigenous cultures of the Andes, the Andean condor is anything but ordinary. To them, it is an eternal emblem of freedom and spirit. In Inca mythology, the condor is a divine messenger, the carrier of souls to Hanan Pacha, the sacred world above. The snowy peaks of Janka, where the sun seems closer than anywhere else, were believed to be the home of the Apu, the mountain gods. And when the condor soars across that cold sky, people believe it carries their prayers to Inti, the sun god, the supreme source of life. This belief echoes the faith in Christianity, that a soul after death ascends to the heavens, closer to God, in a sacred and transcendent journey. The snowbound mountains of Janka test the limits of life. From 2000 to 2019, glaciers across the Andes melted at an average rate of 583.5 cubic meters per second, forming streams that flow into the valleys below. For the Andean condor, these waters signal the presence of life and are often where death is first found. But to the Inca, those waters were a gift from the Apu, a divine offering that nourished the rich landscapes below. Higher than the cold, arid plains where the guanaco endures, at elevations around 4,800 meters in the snowy peaks of the Andes, another creature quietly braves the punishing climate and breathless altitude. The vicuña is not large. It has no claws, no extraordinary speed, yet it carries something the entire world covets: its coat. Each fiber of its wool measures just 12 microns in diameter, finer than cashmere, which is already famed for its softness. A delicate layer of tiny scales coats the surface of each strand, locking out the cold air and forming a naturally perfect thermal barrier. Thanks to this, even when nighttime temperatures in the Janka zone fall below -20 degrees Celsius, the vicuña's small body retains the warmth it needs to survive. That very coat once pushed them to the edge of extinction. By the 1970s, only about 6,000 vicuñas remained in the Andes after decades of relentless hunting for their prized fiber. But a joint effort between the government of Peru, conservation organizations, and local communities sparked a recovery. People no longer hunted them for their wool, but revived an ancient ritual known as chaku. Every 2 to 3 years, wild vicuñas are gently herded into safe enclosures. Their wool is sheared with care, and then they are released back into the wild. No wounds, no chains. In Inca culture, the vicuña symbolized purity and sacredness. Killing them was strictly forbidden. Their wool was reserved solely for the garments of royalty and nobility. Today, the vicuña appears proudly on the coat of arms of Peru, a symbol of biological richness and sustainable heritage. Living at elevations between 3,200 and 4,800 meters, where oxygen levels are barely half of those at sea level, vicuñas possess blood with an unusually high concentration of red blood cells, enabling highly efficient oxygen transport. It's a nearly perfect adaptation to thin, frigid air, strikingly similar to highland-adapted humans. Additionally, their front teeth grow continuously throughout their lives. In an environment where food consists mostly of tough, silica-rich grasses with minimal nutrition, those teeth must stay ever ready to resist constant wear. But life in the cold heights has never been easy. An old vicuña collapses among snow and wind. No cry, no sign of a predator, only time, quietly freezing its final breath. On the towering rocky slope, passing does not come violently. It is silent, like an offering. To the ancient Inca, snow-covered peaks were more than stone and ice. They were the closest place to the gods, where sacred rituals were carried out in hopes of summoning water to return to the fields below. And now, from the edge of the horizon, the Andean condor appears. It circles slowly, like a ritual from another time. Unlike the cold, harsh Puna Altiplano of southern Peru, The eastern and central slopes of the Andes, stretching into northern Peru, are home to a region often described as the sponge of the Andes. This is the wet Paramo, a moist highland plateau found at elevations between 3,000 and 4,500 meters, primarily in Colombia, Ecuador, and northern Peru. Average temperatures range from just 2 to 10 degrees Celsius, with annual rainfall between 1,000 and 2,000 millimeters, spread fairly evenly throughout the year. The soil here is often waterlogged, rich in organic material, and has a remarkable ability to retain moisture thanks to the root systems of native plants. The thick layer of vegetation and organic soil absorbs water from rain, fog, and underground springs, slowly releasing it over time. However, the steep terrain, cold climate, and saturated ground make long-term settlement in this region nearly impossible. The Inca were forced to learn how to collect water from soil, mist, and rain, stay warm in a harsh climate, and sustain food supplies in poor, chilly soil. From this cold, damp highland, they expanded their irrigation systems and influence into the valleys below, turning a difficult landscape into a strategic stronghold for their empire. We have just walked through the most unfiltered cross-sections of the mind game between strategy and instinct in the Serengeti. Which animal in today's episode changed the way you see the wild? Was it the lionesses and their calculated chess moves, or the complex matriarchal society of the spotted hyena clan? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your understanding is the greatest tribute to these wild animals. Do not forget to like and subscribe to join the next expedition, where we keep decoding the most mysterious survival codes. And if you want to explore more of the wild, continue with Run or Die full episode. Survival has no mercy in Savage Kingdom or Savage Africa full episode. Deadliest fights in the Animal Kingdom.